It was
August 10th, 2007.
when I agreed to help in the business.
I looked at pornography for the first time.
I found out my daughter Audrey had gone missing.
I was taken away from my family and I became a victim of human trafficking.
I know what you're thinking. Why would a girl like me be willing to work in this industry? Honestly, I'm just in it for the money, and
I can't stop now. At first, it wasn't that big of a deal. I only did it every once in a while. Now, it's my biggest secret.
My life is so different now. It's been 10 years since I've seen my family. I don't even feel like I have choices of my own. It's hard to believe life used to be so simple.
It's every mother's worst fear, worst nightmare that their child would be taken from them. Mine became a reality.
Globally, the average cost of a slave is $90. The average cost of an adoption is $28,000.
I started dating this guy a couple years back, and he told me he loved me. Then he told me he was a part of this business and said he needed my help being a recruiter for the girls.
I didn't want to at first, but I was too afraid to say no. One day, my older brother had some friends over, and they were looking at porn. I kind of looked up to them and what they did, so I followed along. 1 minute watching porn became 10 minutes, and then a few hours.
My life just kind of wasted away. The days and nights blurred together. It felt like I had no purpose. I was a little girl stuck in a house of strangers, and no one really cared about me. Each year, I feel like it gets harder and harder to keep living. I can't get the memories of my abduction out of my head. It started off as a normal day.
Audrey and I were traveling to my parents' house, and we stopped for gas along the way. I paid for the gas inside, and when I got back to the car, she was gone.
The average age a teen enters the sex trade in the U.S. is 12 to 14 years old. Many victims are runaway girls who were sexually abused as children.
My job is simple. The guys bring a new girl to the house. I walk over to them and say something sympathetic about how I was in their shoes. They confide in me, I get paid, and if they behave well enough, they can have the same job that I do. But I like to wonder what life could have been like. When Audrey wasn't there, I called the police and anyone else who would look for her. As the years have gone by, more people have thought that I should just give up. But I will press on. As Hebrews 6:19 says, we have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure.
How do you easily explain why a loved one is not in your life anymore? I thought I became pretty good at keeping everything a secret, but apparently not. My fiancée took my phone while I was driving, and I forgot to close out an app. When she saw what I'd been watching, I promised not to do it again. I slipped up again, and then she broke off the engagement.
Human trafficking is the third largest international crime industry, bringing a profit of $32 billion worldwide every year.
I remember my first project. We picked her up at some gas station, and I was surprised at how young she was. I like to take credit for her work, though, because I was the only one she would talk to for 2 months. Now, she's the industry's biggest moneymaker. Audrey Bennett. I never thought I'd see my daughter's face in the newspaper as a missing child.
That's who I became. As time went on, I was forced to take off my clothes for these strange people and shoot videos for them. Then they started being physically abusive to get their way. Often I heard them say,
"Nothing a little makeup can't cover up."
It wasn't until I was older that I realized what was really going on. Not only was I a starving, innocent little girl, but I was the porn industry's biggest star without even wanting to be.
After looking at the same stuff for years, I've kind of gotten numb to it. All the videos and pictures just blend together. But one day I saw Audrey Bennett on the screen, and
she had the biggest smile.
She's our biggest star.
She was my favorite one.
My favorite game to play was guessing when I was going to be fed next.
She was my only little girl.
She's made the business more money than anyone else.
She never left my mind.
I hate the girl I see in the mirror.
Then I finally saw her. I was checking my email and she popped up on a sidebar ad. She was skinnier than when I last saw her at 10 years old. How could I let my little girl become a sex model?
That's my greatest life achievement. So have fun looking at your videos every day. I'll be here with new content every week.
80% of those sold into sexual slavery are under 24, and some are as young as 6 years old.
Still, the enemy will not win. Galatians 4:7. So you are no longer a slave,
but God's child. And since you are his child,
God has also made you an heir.
An estimated 30,000 victims of sex trafficking die each year from abuse, disease, torture, and neglect.
So what will you do about it?